So this week we are talking about gentleness. And to start out this week, I wanted to begin by reading Ephesians 4, 1 through 3. It says, "As a prisoner for the Lord, then I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace." How many of us can say that we act this way? At first, I thought, I definitely act with gentleness and work toward keeping peace. I thought about some of the interactions I've had when I've been at the store recently. I try to really be patient and kind to the cashiers that I'm talking to because their jobs are really hard right now. I've heard stories from some people about how rudely they've been treated by customers. So I try to remember gentleness when I'm at the store because I want to make sure people are treated with kindness and respect. It's easy to act with gentleness and keep unity when others are kind to you. The challenge is to maintain patience and peace and gentleness when someone has upset you or annoyed you. As I thought about this, I realized that I have a harder time acting with gentleness in those situations. Something that I really struggle with is when people get in my way or seem to be unobservant of the people around them. As I'm sure most people know, I'm not exactly a tall person. So when I'm at a concert or watching a show at Disneyland, it can be really challenging sometimes because a tall person will end up standing right in front of me. And that irritates me so much because in my mind, they could easily just stand behind me and see just fine instead of blocking my view. It's in those moments where I forget everything that this passage is saying, and I want to say something rude or incredibly passive-aggressive to them. Thankfully, I usually have someone like my brother with me who will kindly ask if I can stand in front of them so I can see, and they always say yes. Gentleness is treating people with kindness and love. It's everything that this passage describes. It's always a good idea to act with gentleness, but I think that it's even more important right now as people are going really stir-crazy and emotions are elevated. When we become frustrated with people or situations in our lives, it can be hard to remember gentleness. But these verses are such a great reminder for us in those challenging times. Something I remember my mom doing when I was a kid was she would print out verses and put them all around the house. I remember seeing a verse on the freezer. I don't remember what verse it was, but I remember there was one posted there for a very long time. The verses that she posted were reminders of how we are called to act as followers of Jesus. These verses in Ephesians would be great to write out and post somewhere in your house as a reminder. But I would also encourage you, if there are other verses that you use as reminders of how to live, to find a place for them as well. As we are in God's Word more and more, it will become easier to draw closer to God and to remember His calling on our lives. I would just encourage you this week, as verse 2 says, to be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Remember these words as you interact with people this week.